guys, welcome back to our podcast. On today's episode, we are going to be answering y'all's questions on relationships and dating. We dated for 4 years, so I feel like we can speak to this area pretty well. It also ended in a happy marriage, so I think we have some experience in this area.
Yeah, for sure.
Anyways, we asked y'all over on Instagram to submit the questions. So if you'd like to give input on future episodes, go give us a follow. It's at Clayton and Catherine. And we're just going to get started on this list of questions.
Yeah.
The first one is ideas for dating on a budget.
I feel like we were pretty good at this. Like
Yeah.
at the start, when we first started dating, it was always pretty cheap. We never really went out. It was always like me coming to your house for a little bit. And then
Yeah. Once we started actually going on dates, I feel like we weren't as good at it together.
Well, yeah.
I was always a super saver, so I feel like I've always been kind of good at eating out cheaper, looking for the deal meals or using the apps or getting water to save money. That was something he didn't do when we first started dating.
The only app I had was the Sonic app, because I was like, oh, half price drinks and stuff like that.
Did you even have that back then?
Yeah, I had the Sonic app.
Okay.
But other than that, I never really thought about using the apps because I didn't really think that much about the points. Wasn't ever taught about the point system.
Yeah.
Which now,
honestly,
fan of points.
A lot of people, I don't know, I just grew up in a family where we didn't eat out a lot, and when we did, we ate out for cheap.
Yeah.
We always got water. So honestly, my family kind of taught me all the tricks, I guess, or influenced me, and I kind of found out all the tricks as I got older, whatever. But there's definitely ways to go on dates for cheaper. So if you're wanting to go out to eat, things that we like to do, if we're not doing a sit down, which even sit down restaurants now have apps. I know Red Lobster has an app. There's different ones. Chili's has an app. Yeah. So definitely download the apps because they'll have deals on there, promotions. I remember some weeks we'd literally just look on the different apps and see which one had a good deal that we wanted to use, and we'd be like, okay, let's go to Chili's this weekend.
Which I feel like we turned it into a fun game. Who could find the best pricing for what we were going out for the day, or who could find the best cheapest option for us. Yeah,
so we'd go on dates sit down restaurants, or if we were going to be out and about doing stuff and we were going to eat fast food or something, we'd try to use a deal with that. So using apps. And then for drinks, we didn't used to do this. He used to get teas and sodas and stuff, but I grew up in an all water family, so whenever we'd go out to eat, I would only get water, and honestly that saves a lot of money. A lot of restaurants literally charge $3 for a tea or a soda.
Yeah.
And if you think about it, that's $6 for the two of you to get a drink. So that adds up pretty quickly.
Yeah. If you're going out once a week, that adds up
which
pretty
is
quickly.
What we do.
Yeah.
I know a lot of people go out even more than that. So that's definitely a way to save money, is checking the apps, drinking water. I know it's kind of boring, and we treat ourselves every once in a while.
Yeah.
But sometimes I'll even tell him, I'm like, let's just skip getting the drinks here, and we'll literally go to Sonic after. If we really want to drink, let's just go to Sonic, and we can get half priced, super cheap drinks versus spending all this money to get the drinks at the restaurant.
Yeah.
And we're probably going to sound like such cheapskates, but literally every time we do get a drink at the restaurant, we literally are like, hey, can we get a to-go cup for that? We literally,
or we'll share it.
Yes. Or if he gets a sweet tea, I'll be like, okay, let's just share it.
We're going to try to get it down to $1 a cup, and then try to get it out of the door as well.
Anyways, so that's a really good way to save money, is just cutting out the drinks or sharing or whatever.
Splitting the meal. I feel like a lot of restaurants have huge portions.
That's true. We split meals a lot as well. We did this a lot when we were dating, and we go to sit down restaurants, and we still do it now because some of our favorite places give you these huge plates, and we're like, we have no need to take it home.
Yeah, they'll give you a whole bunch of bread rolls until you get full off of the bread rolls and stuff.
Or if you go to the Mexican restaurants, they give you chips and salsa.
Yeah, chips and salsa, and then flour tortillas.
You kind of have to watch because some restaurants have gotten sneaky about it, and they'll charge you if you don't both get an entree. I know some of our favorite Mexican restaurants, if you don't both get an entree, they charge you. But even just trying to go for like lunch, like the lunch hour, and get off the lunch menu. Normally that knocks off a couple dollars.
Yeah, a couple dollars on top of
Or sometimes we even like just ordered off of like the entree list, because you can order just an entree, like especially at like Mexican restaurants where they upcharge so much for like rice and beans.
Yeah,
you can order that entree by itself for like half the price, and then just eat like the appetizers, like the chips and salsa and like stuff like that, and you get full off of it.
Yeah,
and there's no reason to like order too much food to where you're taking it home, which some people don't even take it home. It's crazy. You know, like some people just...
you'll see, like, look across the restaurant and it's just like stacked full of plates and food.
Like we'll look over and there'll be like a full plate of food. We're like, why do we even order food? We should just...
we should... So gross.
No, I'm just kidding. I would never do that. But literally, like, I just cringe because you will literally see a kid like take 2 bites out of their food and like leave the rest of the plate there. And it's like
have that for dinner.
Huge plate of food. And you know it was like $10-$12 for that plate. Anyways, so that's kind of the ways we save money in restaurant. I'm trying to think if there's anything else that we do to save money like at restaurants. I think that was it. We said the apps, water, sharing plates. I think that's the only 3 things I can think of.
Yeah, that's really all you can do.
Yeah.
For the most part.
So yeah, we try to do that when we go out to eat. We try to limit like once a week going out to eat.
We try to limit it also to like $30 is a maximum of what we're trying to stay underneath.
So definitely just like set a budget of how much you're wanting to spend. And ours, I feel like when we were dating, it was like $25.
Yeah, $25.
Now that we're married, you know, we moved up an extra $5 so we can get like an appetizer now or something. For sure. Or like a dessert. But anyways, so yeah, just like set that limit and then we just try to stick to it.
Yeah. It's kind of fun. I mean, like you kind of treat it like a game, like trying to get it within the lines.
And obviously we treat ourselves sometimes, but it definitely saves us a lot of money to like do those things.
Yeah.
So that would be my advice for like that,
eating
I guess,
out.
Date idea, like eating out. If you're going to go out to eat, then there's my best tips for that, because it can get really expensive. And the prices are definitely raising.
Yeah, if you don't feel like eating out, then you can always start going into like getting sub sandwiches or like finding other stuff and then going out to like nice looking lakes or...
That's stuff we've done before. Like if you don't have the money, which I mean sometimes when you're dating you don't, or you don't want to spend the money, you don't have $30 to go eat out, literally just take like $10, go to Walmart, grab a bag of chips, grab one of their like sub sandwiches that they have, like you were saying, in the deli, and like a couple drinks, and just go find a place to have like a picnic or something. Like we did that so many times, did it a lot. And it was so fun. Honestly, those are my favorite times, because you get to like just sit down and spend one-on-one time together. It's super cheap. Like there's so many cool places you can go to that are really inexpensive.
Oh yeah, just research. I mean, you can find local spots that have like really cool areas. Like
we've gone to parks.
Yeah.
We've gone to like
lakes.
Nature parks.
Yeah, nature parks.
Yeah. So yeah, it's super fun, and I feel like it's more intimate to do that than to like go to restaurants, because you know it's quieter and you can just kind of sit down and talk, and you don't have the waiter interrupting you.
Oh my goodness.
Every 5 minutes.
And I feel like, I don't know what it is about recently, but I feel like going to restaurants have gotten so much louder. It's not as like intimate as it used to be. Like, I don't know, maybe that's just me personally.
No, definitely. Especially when they like sit you over in like the bar section where they have the TVs going and stuff.
Yeah.
I hate that. Like, I'm like, do we look like we want to sit over here? Like, it's so loud.
Yeah.
Like, I'm like, we're trying to have a nice little sweet date, and then they'll go sit us in like the loudest section. I'm like, we can't even like literally hear each other.
Yeah. We'll have to like start reading lips or yelling at each other.
So anyways, so yeah, definitely making your own food at home. You can even look up cute ideas on like Pinterest if you want something like fancier or something you don't normally eat. You can look up ideas of stuff you can make it at home, and literally just take it, and that's super good way to like save money and cut down the cost of like eating out. We like to do like, well, back when we were dating, I wouldn't say we do this as much now, but like back when we were dating, we'd like think of cute crafts we could do together. Honestly, you had some good ideas. Like a lot of the time,
Pinterest was my savior. I'm not gonna lie, because I'd always look up just like random like cute date ideas. And
one time we did, I forgot about this, but we painted those little canvases.
Yeah.
One time, I think that you literally, I think, got the stuff for that
Yep.
and surprised me. So we did like little canvases with like our fingerprints on it and whatever. And yeah, some of these are like cringy and like whatever, but it's a fun idea. And you can go to the dollar store and get this stuff for.
Yeah, the canvases, everything I think I pulled together, if I remember correctly, was like all under $10, and that's from the food included.
Yeah.
And like
And
the
it's fun.
drinks and everything.
Yeah. So we like painted canvases one time. One time we bought canvases and then like which I want to do this again because this was really fun. We bought canvases and then some of that like thicker like thread and then some big needles, and if you look it up on Pinterest you can kind of like see what I'm talking about.
Oh my gosh, yeah, I
yeah,
totally forgot
you like
about
trace
that.
something out on the canvas and then you go and like sew
Yeah, you sew with the lines
around
and
the
everything.
tracing and
Yeah.
like it like creates a picture. I don't know. It was really, really fun. I don't even think we finished the ones. I think we still have those actually.
I finished mine.
I didn't finish mine, but that
You
was
have
super
very
fun.
detailed. It gets very like extensive.
Yeah, and I'm like also a perfectionist, so I was like taking my sweet time on it. But anyway, stuff like that is just really fun. Like just looking up little crafts you can do and literally just going to the Dollar Tree and picking this stuff up because it's super cheap. It's a fun activity, and even if you don't keep it, like
You know,
you still
it's
make
just
memories
nice.
and
yeah. It's nice
Yeah.
to sit there and talk. That's really the main reason for it.
yeah.
It's not really the activity itself. It's just being with the person.
Yeah.
So
We also like to like go on walks, which is obviously free.
parks are really big for that.
Go swimming like in nature parks. Like we've gone
Yeah.
swimming in nature parks before, hiking, walking,
Fishing, that one's pretty
fishing.
fun.
We do like to fish. Yeah, just like being outside in general is free, obviously, and it's super fun and a good way to like kind of like disconnect and just spend time together
Yeah.
and talk. Like walking together is like one of our favorite things to do. Sometimes we'll even just like
It's nice.
go get pizza, go to the
Yeah.
park, eat, and then just go for a walk and just talk and stuff.
It's a time that you can sit down, set your phone down, and you can actually like fully put everything onto your partner and not
Yeah.
have to worry about anything else.
Yeah. Which that can be kind of hard during the winter, and that's something that we've been finding out
Struggling with
this winter, which
Yeah.
I mean, I feel like we've been thinking of things. We like to play board games.
Yeah.
We found like a couple board games we like to play. We still want to find more.
Yeah. If y'all have any suggestions, please drop those below because I'm struggling to find some new like 2-player ones.
Yeah, it's hard to find 2-player games, but we do enjoy like playing like Monopoly and like card games and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So that's a fun idea and relatively cheap because you have to buy it once and then you can
just
replay it.
Keep reusing it.
Also, what was I gonna say? There was something else.
Are we
Sometimes we play the Nintendo together.
Yeah.
We play like Mario, which is another thing that you can like buy and like,
One-time purchase type
you
deal.
know, constantly.
Which I feel like has a little bit more of a bigger commitment
yeah,
to anything.
but you can use it a lot.
Yeah.
I'm just trying to think of different things. Also, puzzles. That's what I was gonna say. We tried to do a puzzle the other day. That's another thing that like literally just borrow a puzzle from somebody you know because people have them and they don't even use them.
It's a one-time thing and then you put it back in the box
Yeah,
and you never
or
get
just
it back out.
Go buy a cheap puzzle
Yeah.
somewhere and
Start small.
Yeah.
Don't do what we did. We did like 1,000-piece puzzle and I got frustrated halfway through it because I couldn't figure out all
we
the
weren't
end
even
pieces.
halfway through. We literally just got the border and then we both were like,
Well, some of the borders
We're
weren't
done
even
with this.
matching.
Yeah.
Whatever.
we like gave up on it, but just get a
Puzzles
smaller
are fun.
puzzle and it will
Just
be
get a
fun.
smaller one.
Yeah. But yeah, just stuff like that. You could like also find a TV show you guys like to watch together and do stuff while you watch the
Get a
shows.
pizza or something and
You
do
know,
that.
stuff like that. Those are like cheaper ideas where like you only have to buy the thing once and you can use it for multiple dates.
Yeah.
Something else I just thought of that we also did was tennis. We've been starting to play tennis last summer. So we went and bought the tennis stuff, which upfront is a bigger investment, but
A little bit. It was like
It wasn't that
15
bad.
bucks, I think, for everything.
I feel like it was more. The rackets were expensive.
Oh, yeah, that's right. I
Yeah.
forgot. The rackets were a little
So-
bit more expensive.
It was a little expensive, but we can literally go play on like a free tennis court
Yeah, there's a lot of courts that are around us. That
whenever we want, and
Yeah.
it's like fun. So anyways, those are like the activities that I can think of.
That's everything that we could think of that's relatively cheap. Stay at home,
Yeah.
go out, or cheaper side stuff because it's getting harder and harder to have like a good, nice date that's cheaper.
Yeah.
So
But those are the things we've done over the years to like save money, and honestly, I don't know. I've made a lot of good memories doing all those things with you.
Yeah.
And it doesn't always have to be extravagant stuff. It can be like simple stuff and still be fun. But anyways, sorry, we talked about that for a long time.
Well, there's a lot to digest on that because like you can do a lot of stuff for a lot cheaper than what people think you can.
Yeah, you just got to find the little tricks and hacks.
Yeah.
And once you do, you can hack the system and save a lot of money.
Yeah.
Okay. The next question is how to understand the other person's intentions with you.
That's so hard because I think it's individuals.
Yeah, which I also feel like the way someone's acting and treating you, I mean, I feel like that's a pretty big factor. Like if you can tell that someone's not putting effort into the relationship unless they're gaining something out of it.
Yeah.
I'd say that's a pretty big like red flag.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Like if you find yourself being the one who puts the majority of the effort into the relationship and the other person's not putting effort in unless it's directly benefiting them.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like they'll put effort in, but it has to be something that's going to like benefit them.
Yeah.
You know, even if they're not making that obvious, but that's still kind of what's happening. It's really sad, but
it's so hard because you can see it from the outside.
It's harder to see it.
It's harder to see it inside the relationship. That's why like a good group of friends around you is really, really good because they'll more than likely point it out or see it.
Yeah. I'd say that's a big tell though.
Yeah.
I mean, the main one that I can think of is just if
not equal participation.
Well, just not even like, I don't know, just not giving effort unless it's something that's going to benefit them.
Yeah.
Because that doesn't scream good intentions. That screams self-serving.
That's the only one that I can really think of, which there's probably tons more.
Yeah.
But that's the only one.
That's the main one I can think of. I mean, because other than that,
huge.
you wouldn't really be able to tell. I mean,
unless you're in that relationship.
I mean, you could also just ask them, like before you start dating someone, or like when you're dating them, ask it. Well, I think it's important to ask before. But if you're already dating them and you haven't asked them, you could ask them like, you know, what are your intentions with the relationship? Like, what do you want out of this?
Yeah. Are you actually dating for marriage, or are you like wanting?
But some people just date for fun. So I mean, I guess that's another way to find out is just straight up ask them what their intentions are.
Yeah.
And then just kind of like, I guess, watch their actions and see if they back up what they said.
Oh, yeah. Also, crossing boundaries. Once you set boundaries, if they're already pushing towards like, oh, well, this is, you know, stepping over the things that you've already set.
That's true.
That's a huge one.
That's, yeah. So yeah, I think just like talking to them about it, watching their actions, seeing if their actions align with their words, because obviously anybody can talk and say stuff, but if their actions don't back up their words, then I feel like that's another red flag of like they probably don't have good intentions with you.
Yeah.
Okay. Anyways, the next one is, what are your opinions on waiting for marriage? I think you should wait for marriage.
Yeah. I think it's very beneficial.
Yeah. I think it's a good thing to strive toward.
Yeah.
Obviously it's hard to do when you like love someone.
Yeah.
And you're around them all the time. It's really, really hard, and definitely not something we were perfect in.
Mm-hmm.
But I think the times that we did better,
being around
like having
people.
Boundaries and stuff.
Yeah.
I think we were like happier almost in our relationship. But yeah, I mean, tips for that, I'd probably just say like just keep yourself out of like situations where you know you're gonna be like tempted to do something, which is like being alone, being out of like
alone, being out of the eye of other people.
Yeah.
Being in public, I think, is huge. Also being around family.
I don't know, like I don't necessarily think you have to have someone with you all the time, because I feel like you should get to know the person, you know, but I don't know, just being like really conscious of situations where, you know, things are gonna happen. Being
present with other people, like obviously you don't have to be like in public all the time. I would say like walking in parks, doing activities is really what I'm trying to get at. Yeah. Like going bowling, like you can still do one-on-one time, and
which we try to stay pretty busy in our dating relationship, but just like staying busy, hanging out with other people, being in like public spaces. I mean, that's probably our best tips, because everybody's gonna mess up. If you put yourself in this situation,
Yeah.
it's gonna happen no matter who you are or
Yeah.
what you believe in.
Yeah.
So really it's just having good boundaries. And then I guess if you see yourself mess up, you can look at what
correct
caused it and then try to, do better and not put yourself in that situation again. But yeah, I'd say that's
I think that's
my opinion at least.
I think that's the best for everyone in general.
Yeah. Anyways, the next one is, how hard is it to stay pure? Which we kind of answered that
Yeah.
with this other question, like pure with each other during dating. But if we were to turn it out like outward to like other people, like how to stay pure in your relationship, like with just each other,
Yeah.
not looking at other people or, whatever else. What would your advice be?
Dumping the opposite gender.
Well, actually, I guess the question is, how hard is it to stay pure?
For me personally, not very hard. Because I've gone through the up and down.
I know, which
of before.
I feel like it's not that hard for me either, but I feel like I don't want to come across the wrong way, being like, it's not hard for me.
The only reason I say it's not hard is because I feel like we've set ourselves up for not being hard.
Yeah.
Like it not being hard for us to be tempted or any other situation in that case.
Yeah, that's true.
Because we've gotten rid of a lot of the opposite genders, friends, a lot of like no one-on-one with other people, stuff like that. And making sure we're not like texting them or having like in that sense, which is okay.
Like we have boundaries like set up, which I don't know. Everybody's boundaries are going to be different. Like we've learned ours over the years.
Yeah.
And I don't know. I feel like we've come to like a good point where it's like easy not to like look to other people or whatever. Like we don't really have those. We don't even have a way for those relationships to form, because we had those boundaries
set up the boundaries in the first place.
We stick to them.
Which, it comes with learning and talking with each other. That's another huge thing about that is speaking with the person like, hey, this is what it makes you uncomfortable. How can we improve on what our relationship is to set those boundaries? And
if something's going to like, could cause you to start messing up, then like cutting it out.
Yeah.
Or talking to your partner about it.
Or if your partner identifies it as in like, hey, this is starting to make me feel uncomfortable.
Yeah. So just talking, communicating, and just trying your best to like set those boundaries and stick with them is what I'd say.
Yeah.
Okay, so the next question is ideas for reminding your partner you love them. Thinking back on our dating experience, there's a couple things I can think of that you did that was like really sweet, and things that reminded me, you cared about me, loved me even when we weren't together. One of them being, I remember one time, like 1 week when we were seeing each other, you brought me this blanket. You had like bought a blanket and sprayed it down with your cologne that I had bought you, my favorite cologne. Sprayed it down with that and you brought it to me. And literally that was like the sweetest thing. I loved it so much. I like took it home and snuggled with it, and like it was just really comforting and like, made me think about you. I loved it. And then I literally had the idea. I was like, we could start switching this blanket back and forth. So then I would like spray it down with my perfume and I'd bring it to you and you'd keep it for like a few days until we saw each other the next week. And we just kept switching it. It was like a week rotation. Yeah. We'd switch it back and forth every week. And I don't know. That was just something really sweet. We like weren't, living together. So it was sweet to just switch that back and forth and kind of have like a little reminder of the person. Another thing I can think of is 1 year for, I think it was Valentine's Day, you made like this little jar and you wrote down on little pieces of paper like things that you loved about me and like confidence jar, just cute little things. He named it the confidence jar and he like wrote all these things that you like liked about me and like whatever. Anyways, I thought that was really sweet and I still have it in our room. And you were like, you can open one a day. So I'd like open up one every day and it would make me think of you, make me feel loved. So I guess it's just kind of like looking at your partner's like love language and then kind of like implementing things. His love language is food, so food. I would like bake him cookies sometimes, or make him cake balls. Do those? So good. Yeah, all those little like anything I could like bake him and bring him, like that would make him feel loved. Cinnamon rolls. I just feel like it's just finding what your partner loves. Like I love like
love me some cinnamon rolls.
I love like words and stuff like that. If you knew I was having like a bad day, you'd like go pick me up my favorite lunch, or
which kind of sucks.
Grab me flowers.
How it worked was it was so cold by the time I got to you.
I know, because we live so far. But it's the thought that counts. And I always thought it was really sweet. Like he'd grab me my favorite drink, or you get me flowers. Like, I guess just thinking of like little things that will make the other person feel loved, and just kind of basing it off their love language, because
everyone's gonna be different, obviously.
Yeah.
But finding things and actually like searching deep,
and even like,
yeah,
I mean, you don't always have to do their specific favorite love language. Like there was other things you did, like I wouldn't say acts of service is necessarily like my top love language,
yeah,
but sometimes you would like do my nails for me, and like that meant a lot to me.
Yeah.
Or like I'd give you a massage or something, you know, just different things that we could do for each other.
Yeah.
It doesn't always have to be something that costs money. I wrote you like that box of letters. It was like open wind.
Yeah, box of letters, and then you also gave me ones with the popsicle sticks.
Oh yeah, I wrote little things with the popsicle sticks. So yeah, just little things like that I feel like are really good for just reminding your partner you like love them, care about them, and
it's very simple. I mean, some of them are time consuming, obviously, but like in reality, it's not that much. Like it doesn't take that much time. It's like 2 hours to just sit down and like actually do something for your partner.
Yeah,
taking
and
the
it's
time
really
out.
sweet, and they'll really appreciate it. And definitely a reminder that you know you love them. We still have like all that stuff from each other, and I know it like means a lot. So yeah, that's probably like my best ideas on that. What are things you would have changed looking back now on your dating experience?
Ooh, talking faster, I would say. Like,
talking faster?
Yeah, talking faster
What do you
is
mean?
like in the sense of digging deep into what the other person really wants out of the relationship faster. Really sitting down with you and saying like, okay, what do you want out of this relationship? What are you expecting out of this relationship? And what are your boundaries? Like getting to that really quickly I
think that would have saved a lot of time and frustration because I feel like a lot of the reasons we like had all these little breakups was because we like never just sat down and like talked it out. We were always just like upset about something in the beginning. Just upset because we didn't really understand what the other person wanted or like the other things that was upsetting each other.
Yeah, what they expected.
Yeah, so it was just kind of hard because we were constantly like getting frustrated with each other, and I feel like that kind of played into like us breaking up in the beginning of us first starting like dating.
Setting boundaries is huge.
Just setting boundaries and like, you know, respecting your partner, like, which is hard to do if you don't know like what respects your partner. So just communicating and like setting boundaries. I wish we would have done that. I agree with you. Like earlier in the relationship,
I think that would have helped a lot.
I'm trying to think what else. I'd say we were pretty good about spending intentional time together.
Yeah.
Like when we were dating, we would go on a lot of dates and
once a week.
We were constantly like thinking of things to do. So I guess not that. Maybe like being more intentional when we would like talk on the phone, because sometimes we would just call each other and just like sit on the phone. Well, which is okay, but
to be fair, I think we sat on the phone too much.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
To the point of where it was
we weren't being intentional. We were just calling each other and just taking up time.
Yeah.
Like distracting each other, but we weren't really talking.
Yeah.
Which is okay sometimes. Obviously, like you want to like
just have someone to sit there and talk with, or if you have something to think of. But
every day.
It was like every day for at least 2 or 3 hours.
Yeah, I know this bothered you a lot, but
well, it didn't necessarily bother me, but I was just sitting there like trying to think of something to talk about every day. By the end of it, like I had something to talk about. Which then it kind of bothered
me, because then I was like, I felt like I was the only one like talking, you know. So I don't know, just like being intentional, like both of us sitting down and being like, this is our time to talk. I feel like that's a really good thing that I wish we would have done more of. And then maybe like getting to know each other's families more.
Yeah.
When we were dating,
spending more time with each other's families.
Yeah, because we did a really good job about spending time together, and we spent some time with like different people in our family just because they were around when we were doing stuff. Yeah. But yeah, maybe like being more intentional, like grow the relationships with each other's family.
Which, I mean, I feel like it's never too late for a lot of that. It's just a little bit harder because you're not always going to that person's house or that person's family. But I feel like it's never too late to really start strengthening the relationship, no matter when it is in the point. But I think it would have been better if we really sat down and like actually sat down and talked with each other's parents or
which we were. I don't know. We were both really young, so stuff like that's awkward when you're young and you're like getting to know someone. You don't really want to go sit down and talk to their parents, but I think that would have been something good, especially if you're older.
Yeah,
definitely like talking to like their family and stuff. Okay. Anyways, next question. When big conflicts arrive, how do you know if you should give up on that relationship or continue to try to work it out?
It depends on if it's a deal breaker or not. Like if that's a boundary that you set, if the fight is over a boundary that you set and that person breaks it, it depends on how big that boundary is to you.
Which I feel like it's important to sit down by yourself, preferably before you start dating, but if you're already dating someone, you can do it, after or whatever. Sit down, make a list of things that you do not want to compromise on. Like your strong beliefs, like the things that you really, really want that you don't want to compromise on.
Yeah.
That way, when you do enter into a dating relationship, you can kind of filter it through that, because if they aren't aligning with what you want, or they don't agree with what you want, and it's something that you've put on your like non-negotiable list, I feel like that just makes it so much easier to like look at I guess, would that be called the logistical side? Like the side of putting your feelings aside and looking at like the facts, I guess. Like, this is what I want. Does this person align with what I want? Type of thing.
Which I think you can't really change the person to align with it. So before, preferably that you align with that.
Yeah, because a lot of like, if they're your non-negotiables and that person doesn't align with that already when y'all are dating,
how are they supposed to change? And
they're probably not going to change. Yeah. Especially not if y'all are together, because like if you enter into a relationship with someone who already doesn't share what your strong beliefs are, or like your convictions or the things that are important to you, you're never going to be able to change that person.
Yeah, they'll have to decide that on
themselves. Especially if they know like, oh, well, this person will be with me regardless if I feel the same way as them.
Yeah.
Like if you go into a relationship knowing that, I feel like it just kind of trains the other person to know like, oh, they're okay with it. Like they'll put up with it even if you don't want to, and that's not what you want. You don't agree with it. You're kind of training your partner to like see that as like, it doesn't matter that much because they're still with
clearly
me.
their conviction on that isn't very
we
much.
Had things like that come up in our relationship, but I feel like we tried to be really good about being like, whatever our non-negotiables were, like telling each other and just being like, if you don't want this, then like maybe we're not right together.
Yeah.
Type of thing.
Which is such a hard conversation to have, especially when you're like,
we
really
had it a couple
actually
times.
like that person.
Yeah, we had it a couple times and it was hard, but I feel like we definitely needed to have those hard conversations to know like if we could align on the things that were really important to both of us. And then if it's like smaller things, you'll figure it out. Like sometimes you'll change your opinion. I don't think you should do that on your big non-negotiable stuff, but if it's like smaller things, like there were smaller things that we got into arguments about that we didn't necessarily agree on, but we like changed and like adapted and but definitely not the non-negotiables. And I feel like that was good that we like stuck with those, because now in our relationship I feel like we both have the things that we want, because we didn't let the other person kind of like, we didn't train them to think that it was okay.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like to be in a relationship, but they don't
Train
really
them
respect.
Is such a terrible way to say that.
No, but I'm saying like you do, like you train people how to treat you.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
Not like you're like above them and you're training them. But
yeah,
like,
I know. I was just immediately thinking of like a dog. I'm like, here's a treat. Like, here's your training treat.
No, oh my gosh. No, I just mean like.
No, I get it. Like
anybody you're around, you're training them.
Sure...
You're training them how to treat you. You're training them how much they need to respect you. Like, if you don't. Whatever.
Yeah, no,
you get what I'm saying.
I know, I understand. I'm just giving you a hard time.
You're being annoying.
The point of...
I was thinking of a dog treat.
Oh, listen, I just thought it was funny. The point of it being, you want to make sure that the person is going to follow through with what you've set up.
Yeah.
Boundaries.
But yeah. Anyways, hopefully all that made sense. That was kind of confusing, but hopefully it made sense. Okay, moving on to the last question. Questions you guys ask each other while dating and preparing for marriage.
Like kids. How many kids do you want?
No, of course, that's the first one you thought of.
That's the big
which
one.
we didn't necessarily agree on, but that was something we both weren't like set on.
Yeah.
Like we had our own opinions, but we weren't set on it. So we were kind of just like, okay, like we both are willing to like be flexible in this area. Like we're willing to look into what each other wants. So that was something we were kind of like, not like a non-negotiable.
Yeah.
Like we were willing to like just say, okay, well, we don't really know. We haven't had a kid yet, so we'll just make that decision later on when we actually kind of like have more experience and whatever. But yeah, I think that's definitely an important one. Because especially if it's someone who wants to have kids and somebody who doesn't, like that's something really important that you need to figure out.
Yeah, we both wanted to have kids.
Yeah, we both wanted to have kids. Just
it's
like
just
how
the
many
amount.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the difference.
Yeah.
And then I also think finances, like how y'all want to
sure.
work on your finances.
Who's gonna like manage the finances?
Yeah.
Like, what are your priorities? Do you care about debt? Like, that's definitely an important one because some people will go into relationships with a lot of like financial baggage, and like I would assume some people don't ask about that or figure it out until later on. That's
Which
something
is huge because then you are also getting burdened with that person. You're taking on that person. So
talking about finances, just like your financial past, like your patterns, how you manage your money, I'd say that's extremely important. Kids,
your beliefs,
where you want to live,
where you want to live,
your beliefs.
Which I feel like where you want to live is very dependent on your job for the most part.
Which it doesn't have to be set, but I'm just saying if one person wants to stay where their family is and the other person wants to move halfway across the world.
Okay, that's fair.
That's something important.
Yeah.
Your religious beliefs, that's important. If you're not aligning on that, that's not a good relationship.
That's not a healthy one because that's something that a lot of people are very firm in.
Which it also just, I would say depends on what it is because like you're not ever going to find someone that you believe the exact same about everything. We don't believe the exact same thing about everything with our religion, but it's close. It's not like very close. We're like direct opposites. Like we have different opinions on things and like things that we see differently. But for the most part, on the big important things,
what's the most important? We believe the same.
Yeah. So I'd say like, definitely beliefs.
So finances, children, religion, and then I feel like there was one more big one that I really wanted to talk about, but I can't remember it. I'm blanking today.
I don't know. I can't think of anything else. I think those are the main ones. Definitely like religion and finances, and then just like home life. Yeah. Maybe like who's gonna support the family.
That was a big one.
Which is kind of finances, but it's also like home life. Like who's gonna be.
Who wants to be home? If y'all are gonna be both wanting to be working and stuff like that.
Like, which also kind of rolls into like the whole financial side of it. But those are definitely the big ones. I'd say the biggest ones I can think of.
Yeah. I think we covered everything really well for the most part. Hopefully everything made sense to everybody.
Yeah, hopefully we didn't ramble too much. But anyways, that's our take on dating. If you have any other questions, can always leave them down below. And we might do like a future episode again on dating. Anyways, we will talk to you guys next week.
Bye.